Today we will be looking at cloning and pressure. So with the rectangular tool selected, I'm just going to draw out this rectangular panel. And then I'm going to click on the select tool, right click on the rectangular panel here. And here you see create lining. So I'm going to choose create lining outside. And that clones this panel, okay? It's a clone of itself. It's symmetric. Whatever I do on one's going to affect the other because it's cloned. So here we have, I have arranged it, the outside panel on top and the inner one at the bottom. I'm going to click on the pin tool there and I'm going to just fix it because when I simulate, I don't want it to fly away. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the pressure. So I'm going to left click on the top panel in the property editor, look for the pressure option here. I'm going to turn up the value to about 5, okay, for the top panel, okay, the one that's on the outside. Now, the one that's on the inside, I'm going to do the same, but this time apply negative pressure. So in the pressure option, a -5. So you need to have the positive and the negative. Now we simulate and we see we have this cushion. So this is the basics of applying the pressure. Remember, positive and negative. And here, you, of course, you can increase it or decrease it as you wish. Now, he deleted this, and I'm going to choose now the oval tool. And here's the oval panel here around the panel. Here again, I'm going to right click and I'm going to get a lining that's outside. One is outside, one is on the inside. That's the important thing you understand, and arrange it in a way so that when you apply your pressure, you understand. But in this case now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to apply pressure to both, but before I do that, it's better I pin it, otherwise it's just going to fly away. And this is just to let you see how it works. Huh? So select, okay, now it just pressure then doesn't get it doesn't get puffed out. In other words, this is what happens if you do it in the wrong way and you don't do it in one part positive pressure and the other part negative pressure. You go pressure 7, okay, then pressure for this one -7. You simulate, and here we have it. So try not to, when you're trying to create this puff between two materials, try not to, two pieces of material, try not to forget that one has to be negative, one has to be positive. Now let's go ahead and create some and do a type of a puffer vest here. So we're going to draw out the outline of a top here. And here I'm just going to show you the front, at the front of the garment, how it can be all nice and puffed, and what you have to do to get this effect. So here I'm going to just lower this here for the neckline. I'm gonna right click and I'm going to set a symmetry axis. That's like unfolding the pattern piece. And copy and paste. And we do the usual things we do to put this bodice together. Then we do our right click, we flip it horizontally, and then we're going to proceed to segment sew. Okay, so here, what we want to do now is we want to, I'm going to just make this wider. Remember the tools for making it wider. The select pattern tool selected. You draw out this rectangle box over the both pattern pieces. And then you double click and the center dot, and then at the side here, because we want the width increased, we just drag. We simulate, and here we are. So this is a bit bigger, because as I've said, I'm only going to do it to the front, just so you have an idea and that you can practice doing it this way. So what we want to do now is we're going to get our pen tool and we're just going to draw out lines. We don't care about the spacing. We don't care about the measurements. We're just going to draw out internal lines. Okay, so we have our lines drawn. Now, what we want to do is similar to what I've shown you for the cushion, okay? Because now we're going to select this pattern piece with the select move tool selected, right click, and we're going to create the lining outside. Like lining outside, the first one on the top, the second one at the bottom. At least this is the way I arrange it. You can arrange it differently. Okay, so we select the top one here, and we, in the property editor, we're going to put the pressure up to 10. Okay, so that's like positive 10. Now we select the bottom one here, and there we're going to put the pressure negative 10. Okay, 10 and then -10, just checking. Okay. We simulate, and here we're already we have some puff. So what is important here to say is that if you want to see this a little bit more detailed, you would want to lower your particle distance to about 10 or 5, and then you'll see more details appearing. So you select them, check for the particle distance in the property editor, we lower it to 10, and in your 3D window, you can see it's more detailed already. So another way to bring out details when you have this puffiness is always playing with the internal lines, okay? We select the edit pattern tool and we click and hold on shift and we select these internal lines from both pattern pieces. And what we're going to do in the property editor, we're going to play with our elastic option. Turn on elasticity. And here you want to play with the elastic option because you want more detail. So you can turn up the strength and bring down the ratio. And already you see more details emerging. You can even bring down the particle distance to 5. Make sure the particle distance is down if you even want to see more details. So it's already down to 10 and that's okay. Now there is even another way to get more details by selecting the top, the one that's on the outside, a pattern piece on the outside. First, we remove the linked editing, select both, remove the linked editing because we don't want, like what we do to one to affect the other. So we do that first, then we select the top pattern piece, okay? And we double click in the center and we widen it. And doing this here, you get even more detail because practically you're, remember that when there's a wider length and a shorter length and it's sewn on both, that's where you get the gathering effect, okay? So if you make this wider, you get more details. So this is another way for details to emerge. And one step further, you can always turn down your particle distance to 5. Here I'm going to just make it a little wider. So remember, before you go along and play with the width of this of the piece, the pattern piece, remember to remove the linked editing. Remove the linked editing by selecting both pattern pieces, okay? Because both pattern pieces, of course, there is symmetry on them. Remember, this is sewn on top of this other piece. So you just, reason like that. Think about it like that. So we've only done the front. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Have a nice day.